Hey guys, it is I, Becca Lori Hector here, with the recorded version of Being Becca Not So Live, because this week's a big week for me. Antonio and I are headed down this Wednesday. I'm sorry for moving the camera on you guys. Should have had it right. Anyway, so we're heading down the mountain on Wednesday when I will usually be doing live with you guys to go get our RV. I'm so excited. I'm excited to go get it. I'm excited to start moving our things in there. I'm excited to kind of experience the moving in process to there, because packing, as you can see behind me, is happening, right? But there's like our everyday items that we don't need to pack, right? And there are everyday items that need to just get moved into there. And so it's really hard for me right now to feel like we're getting anywhere. So part of the reason that I'm recording in here, which is Antonio's old office, is that I wanted you to see the progression and see the boxes are happening behind me. So many boxes, right? But at the same time, recording down in my office feels like a hollow shell right now. It's got the dog kennels in it and physically my desk and my bookcases and stuff, but they're all empty. Everything's empty. So it's weird in there, and echoey and things. So I figured I would do it from up here. And while I'm talking about packing and while I'm talking about moving, and before I get on to today's topic, I want to remind you guys that this Sunday, yes, this Sunday, July 3rd, I will be releasing the very first episode in my new vlog series, Autistically Yours on the Road to Leveling Up. So you guys, I've already been recording for you guys, and this first episode drops on Sunday. So please don't miss it. And in order to make sure that you don't miss it, please make sure that you subscribe down below, and of course hit that notifications bell so when new episodes get uploaded, you get reminded, until I make my way into your calendar. And so that's what I'm going to be working on, and that's what I'm going to be doing on Sundays coming forward, to sort of take that place of growing gratitude. Though I am sure, as I talk about gratitude in everything that I do, that I will be talking about gratitude on the vlog. In any case, I'm super excited to show you guys Isabel's hard work. She has been editing and going through all my footage. I have been filming like a crazy person. We have been packing like crazy people, and we're making it happen, you guys. And I really am excited for the vlog because it's my opportunity to show you that A, I walk the walk that I talk, and B, that autistics can do hard things, because we just do it differently. And so that is sort of where I'm at today, in terms of the vlog and what's coming forward. But I want to take this opportunity to talk about something hard. So let's continue to do the hard things. Let's talk about the hard things. I apologize for background noise. Antonio's working on the cars and things are happening out in my driveway. And of course, the dogs have to do their job. So I'm sorry for them barking in the background. They'll stop shortly, I'm sure. But today's topic is kind of a downer, serious topic for me. And that's not to say that I don't talk about serious things, because I do. I talk about serious things most of the time. But this is sort of a bigger than me serious thing that I want to talk about. And so it's timely, and it's something I need to say out loud. And so here's the thing. If you don't live in the States, I will update you that here in the United States, we have lots of issues amongst the constituents in this country about the feelings surrounding abortion. And so, as with every political argument, there are extremists on both ends, right? And then there's the majority of the country sitting somewhere in the middle, being torn and pulled by these two extremist groups, because that's how politics works in the United States, or rather doesn't work in the United States. But politics aside of that, there's now been a law, or rather a ruling, that affected the laws surrounding abortion here in the United States, and basically saying, really giving the states each permission to decide about the abortion laws in their state. And what that has meant in our country is that the extremists on one end are viciously angry about the way that this has gone down, and the way that sort of decades of our constitutional law essentially is being overturned, and like time is being turned backwards. On the other hand, the other extremists on the other side are thrilled to pieces, celebrating all of those things, um, and feeling like they have won a battle that they have been fighting for decades, right? And so that is the non-biased sort of positioning. That is like the fact positioning of what is going on in the United States. What that means, big picture, is scary for us here in the States. As you can see, our country is slowly crumbling. Democracy, or America's version of democracy, is sort of crumbling and falling apart. People are asking for more out of this country than supporting the rich people. Things are happening here, and they're not going well. It's not really going the route of the majority. It is really going the route of extremist groups, and so it's frightening to be in that middle group where, right, you're not on either extremist side. It's a scary thing, because when we begin to overturn laws in this country and revert our thinking back, decades, right, it's a slippery slope. And that's what becomes scary. It's a slippery slope of what does that mean? What comes next, right? If we can revert our thinking by 30 years on abortion and a woman's right to choose and a woman's right to control her body and all of those things, and a woman's health care, um, if we can do that, what other laws does that mean that we can begin to slowly slippery slope, right? Are we going to backtrack our civil rights laws? Are we going to start backtracking on all of the laws supporting the LGBTQ community, right? It's a scary place to be right now when you start to think about it in terms of a snowball effect, right? And what does that mean, Becca? Why are you talking about this? You never talk about politics. And that's true. There's a reason I don't talk about politics. And I don't talk about them for the reason I'm going to share with you today, and the advice that I'm going to give you today. So I get a lot of emails every time there's something big and consuming in the news, like the war in the Ukraine, like this abortion law, like anything else that goes on in the UK, right? When even the small things, when you guys were having issues with the euro and things like that. I mean, right, when any kind of news, and I mean COVID, but COVID rightly so I don't put it in that category, but every time that happens, right, it gets really consuming for those of us who spend so much of our time on social media. For autistic people, social media isn't just where we get the news, where we share our good highlights, blah blah blah. It's also where our community lives. It's also where our friends live. And so it's sort of a double-edged sword. How do you go and commiserate with your friends when at the same time you're being bombarded constantly about maybe things that maybe you don't prioritize, or maybe things that aren't in your control? And that's the piece I want to talk to you about today, is the control piece. So every time this stuff happens, I get emails. What do I do, Becca? My son is having a really hard time. My partner is having a really hard time. I'm having a really hard time because all of this is in the news, and it's scary, and it's consuming my thoughts, and it's raising my anxiety, and it's keeping me from eating, and it's keeping me from sleeping properly, and all of these things. So what do I do, right? And here is what I tell you. You don't have to be like me. I chose to just eliminate it from my life. That doesn't mean that when Antonio and I are laying in bed and things happen in the news, we're not talking about it. And that I don't care about it. What I mean is that I've chosen not to engage publicly about these topics. I'm sorry, I'm distracted. There's people walking in my driveway. But I've chosen to eliminate that from my public profile. It's not something I discuss with friends that aren't very close to me. It's not something I discuss even with family. It's not something that I talk about really at all, because I really struggle with people that are toxic. And I find that toxic people tend to have extremist thoughts. And politics, religion, right, all of those areas are hotbeds for that stuff. And since I like to eliminate those people from my life, I've sort of eliminated any discussion or any kind of sharings that might draw them to me, I want to say, or act as a magnet, right? And so I avoid with all of myself extremist groups, and that includes some extreme feminist groups, right? Not to say that I'm not a feminist, not to say that I don't believe in the power of women and the power of humanity, right? But I just don't want to have extremist conversations. They don't work for me. It doesn't work for my logical brain, right? And so I've eliminated that. But here we are in the middle of this conversation, and I can tell you that it directly impacts me as someone who has chosen to be child free, right? I am child free by choice. The idea that somebody could force a child upon me, aka the idea that somebody could then rape me and then the government could then tell me it's not okay for me to go get an abortion and I have to have this child of this rape, right? Because that's what I think about. That's what part of this law impacts my life, right? And it gets me angry, right? Who has that right, right? And I don't like to fill my life with anger. I spent the first 36 years of my life being an angry person, an angry, isolated person. And I've worked really hard not to live in those shoes anymore because I don't have to. And here's why. I draw a line in my life, very, very strict line. I don't even want to call it a boundary. It's like, I don't know, a wall, right, in my life about things that I can control and things that I can't control. And here's the thing about what's going on in politics in America. It is so far out of my control that all it can do is make me feel angry. All it can do is make me feel mad at the people I share a country with. All it can do is make me frustrated, make me feel more isolated, make me feel more depressed, right? More anxious. And that does not help me. It does not help my life. It doesn't help my family. It doesn't help the things that I can control, right? And so what I do is when the bigger these things are in the news, the more I focus myself on the things that I can control. The more I look closer to self. The more I look at my life and say, what do I have to be grateful for? What's going on in my life? What do I have control over so that I can make smart choices, right? Because that's where, right, I have control, and that's where I can control my anxiety, I can control my depression, and I can also control from that space how much of that outside news I let in, right? I control my input and output. And so I get to say, the news is too much for me right now. Not that these issues aren't important to me. Not that I don't have my own opinions about them. Not that all of it isn't going on and there are people suffering right now. But adding my suffering to their suffering doesn't solve the problem, right? And making the suffering bigger by growing my suffering also doesn't help the problem. What helps the problem is for me and others like me to remain strong, to remain passionate, to remain healthy, mentally, physically, and otherwise, so that when the time comes that my voice might actually count, I can be there. I can be there, I can show up, I can have my thoughts straight and prioritize because I've been in my lane, right? But right now, that's not my lane. Right now, what's happening in politics in America is not my lane. All I can do is control my stuff. And so I focus on what are my choices I'm making in my life. Am I focusing on packing properly? Am I taking care of my responsibilities, right? Because while all of that is going on in the United States, I still have to move. I still have to pack my family up. I still have to choose a state in which I want to live, in which I feel like it will be safe, right? So I have all of these choices that I can make, where I can be in control. And that's where I put myself. Because if I focus away, if I focus on the other side of the wall, where things aren't under my control, right? That's using all my spoons. And then I won't be here to be a pillar for somebody in all of my strength when the time comes, if someone I know needs to go camping, right? And that's who I want to be. I want to be someone's strength. I want to be someone's pillar. I want to be somebody's safe space. And if I want to be that for another human being, I can't focus my energy where I don't have a control. I can't. It doesn't equal each other. They don't equate. And so it's about choosing, you guys. It's about deciding to be knowledgeable about what's going on, but limiting the input, right? It's about being emotionally invested in what you do have control over and letting go some of the emotional investment in what you don't have control over. And that's the piece I want to share with you today. That's my message about what's going on in the news. Every time something's going on in the news, because it will continue to go on in the news. Right now, it's laws about abortion in the United States. I have no idea what it's going to be tomorrow. We've had gun laws before this. It's always something. And the only way to process through that and to walk through that and thrive is to focus on what you do have control over, to focus on your circle and your life and do better in the people that you touch, because that's all you've got. And with that, I say, get going, get focused on your life, go out there and focus on what you can control, and tune out for a little bit. Wait until the facts make it through social media and we start seeing the facts and the truth about what's going on, right? And the repercussions of the decisions that are being made. Because that's where our control is. That's where our power lies. Our power is in our responses. And I say that to you guys all the time. So with that, I say, go out there and take care of yourself. Go out there and do some extra self-work. Go out there and be a little extra kind, because the world needs it right now. We all need a little extra kindness, a little extra joy. And so get out there and create it. Get out there and seek it. Get out there, create it. Get out there and share it, because we all need each other right now. And with that, I say, fingers crossed you guys will join me for the very first episode of Autistically Yours on the road to leveling up, which comes at you this Sunday, July 3rd, and every Sunday thereafter into at least August and September. And that's where I'm at. So I hope to see you guys for that. I hope you show up in droves. Please make sure to subscribe and get notifications. As always, I love hearing from you, and especially on ones that I've recorded and we're not having real-time interaction. So please make sure to give me some thumbs up and some thumbs down on this episode. And of course, your comments and emails wherever you're seeing this video mean a ton. All right, you guys, there are important links in the description. You can support me on my journey through Ko-Fi. You can recommend me a book through there as well. And of course, you can get in touch with me via my website. Have a good one, you guys. I will see you next Wednesday for the next Being Becca Live, which will be live. And that will be next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Until then, I'll see you out and about on the interwebs. Have a good one. Bye.